this is my Lego wall, where I'm attempting to collect every Lego Star Wars minifigure ever made. It's been about 4 years since I've embarked on this journey, and I've come quite a long way since then. I started out with roughly 500 Star Wars minifigures, which is a good amount, and right now I am at 896. So we're over halfway there. We got a good chunk of them, and as you can see, the wall, it's more filled than not. And I just wanted to do a quick rundown of everything on the wall, since I've been getting a lot of new people watching, and since it's been going on so long, I wanted to just break down what the wall is, how I do this, and what is in the future. So let's get started. So first of all, I use command strips to attach the base plates to the wall. And I use actually knockoff base plates. So a third-party seller, you can see there's no Lego emblem on there. I did this simply to save costs. Lego Star Wars minifigures are very, very expensive. So I do everything in my power to cut costs. And this is, I think, a pretty decent way to do so. The base plates are fine. Like the pieces are always, have never given me issues to attach with. They stick just fine. And they're gray, which is really nice because the gray Lego base plates are a lot, more expensive, and they don't come in this 32 by 32. And that's kind of what the size of the base plate I wanted to use on this. And I have 7 base plates going horizontally and 6 base plates going vertically. So there are a total of 42 32 by 32 gray base plates on this wall. Then as for the pieces I put the actual minifigure on, I get this question asked a lot. I use the 1x1 headlight bricks here in the yellow color, and then behind them are spacer bricks, so the guys can jut out a little bit more and have a little bit of room. And then if they are a bigger minifigure, like this guy has a backpack on them, I just put extra spacers in between them. Things like the astromech droid, I just space the bricks out, and then they have just a 1x1 plate behind them. And the same thing for the single studded minifigures there. And then my most asked question, I get this asked all the time, why do I pick yellow? Why would I do this? Why would I pick this awful color? Well, first of all, I think it actually is pretty nice. Lego, a lot of the heads are yellow. I think yellow is one of the more iconic colors for Lego. And then also, I think it stands out. It makes my collection stand out a little bit more with the yellow, because I guarantee you no one else has picked this color. But the biggest reason why I have the yellow for the color is they were the cheapest brick at the time. Like I said, I tried to cut costs wherever I could. These bricks were 1 cent a piece. So when you have over a spot for over 1,300 minifigures and you need 2, so 2,600 pieces, well dang, that's a lot of money in just these bricks themselves when I could be spending money on actual minifigures. I get a lot of questions, why not dark gray or black or something like that? Well, at the time, black was, 3 cents a piece, which is not a lot of money, right? But when you need 2,600 of them, that adds up quite a bit. You can do the math on that. So that is why I use the yellow bricks. Then it's the same deal for the purple spacers. Same thing, right? I needed a lot of them, and they were the cheapest option at the time. If we look at the DC wall to the right, you can see I switched over to sand green. They still have the purple spacers. I switched over sand green for 2 reasons, right? I didn't want it to be the same color as the Star Wars ones, and also they were 1 cent a piece, so the cheapest option on Bricklink. Plus, I think sand green looks pretty good on the DC wall. Another frequently asked question I get is how I sort my minifigures. Well, I have the oldest guys at the top and the newest guys at the bottom, but how do I get them in the order that I have them in? Bricklink has a really good tool for that. You just simply go to the Star Wars minifigures and you sort by oldest to newest, and that is how I did it. So the first guys in the Bricklink minifigure log are those battle droids. And I just went down the line, I put them in, and then we go all the way down to the bottom to what was the newest Star Wars minifigures. This is now a little bit outdated since Lego just released a bunch of new sets. I'll expand the wall once I start to actually get those minifigures in hand. Until then, the The May the 4th droid right there is going to be the last figure on the wall. But he'll be, eclipsed here very soon. Now I want to discuss what I actually put on the wall, because believe it or not, I don't have a spot for every minifigure in the Bricklink catalog. So I'm not a full completionist. I don't need a minifigure for every weird variant that has ever come out. I have some of them on here, but not everyone. So for example, Commander Fox. He recently has been discovered to have like 2 or 3 extra variants, all of which were extremely expensive to get. So a couple reasons why he doesn't have some extra spots for his variants. One, because, well, when I made the wall, those variants weren't known, so I'd have to shift everything down to get more. And second of all, there's such minute differences. To me, personally, it doesn't make sense for me to get them. There are tons of other minifigures that I need before I get to them, and that's not to say in the future I may not go after these weird variants, but for now, I'm going to be happy with what I have on the wall. I'm also keeping myself to only getting minifigures directly released in a set to consumers. So any like gift with purchase, or sorry, not gift with purchase, but like the employee gifts, right? So one of the big ones is the Noel clause or whatever, that came with the Christmas X-Wing. That minifigure goes for hundreds of dollars now. That's not something I'm going to concern myself with. I never had the opportunity to buy it. And I'm not going to force myself to pay super expensive prices to get them on the wall. So I'm keeping myself to people that were only released in sets. Now that's not to say there are very expensive holes in this wall. The Cloud City Boba Fett is somewhere. I think all of those minifigures are right there. There are still very expensive minifigures that I need to add to the wall. But things like that Christmas X-Wing pilot, the I Heart New York Yoda, and even the Chrome Gold C-3PO, those aren't guys that I'm going to concern myself with getting, because I think they're just too elusive, and for me, I don't really want them. I'd rather try and get minifigures that I like. Then there's another caveat I want to discuss. And this one might be a little bit more controversial, but I'm not going to collect minifigures at this time. This may change in the future, but I'm not going to collect minifigures that had print rerun changes, right? So like, for example, the Kanan, the black hair Kanan variant, very, very expensive minifigure. They changed production halfway through the Ghost life back in like 2015. And the first version had a black hair Kanan. And for some reason, that Kanan is super, super expensive. I'm happy with just the regular Kanan in my collection. I don't need the black hair Kanan. Another example is in the Resistance Bomber. They changed to get a Finch Dallow minifigure, which is a little bit more of a change than a black hair Kanan, but it is a production change, and that minifigure now is one of the most expensive figures to get of all time. So I'm not going to concern myself with the production change minifigures right now. Again, that might change in the future once I get more of the guys that I actually want, but for now, I'm not going to concern myself with those minifigures either. Also, right now on the wall, I don't have a spot for some of the brick-built minifigures. So for example, the Droidekas and the Spider Droids and like Jabba the Hutt, all of those guys do not fit in the format that I have on the wall. They don't fit in this little section. I can't squeeze them in, right? So, and that is something I actually do want to change. I want to get them on the wall or something, right? Maybe I'll put a shelf on them, because I do want to collect all of those guys for sure. If you guys have any ideas as how to do that, then I would be very happy to hear. Another comment I get a lot is people concerned with me putting the minifigures on the actual peg holes there, because a lot of the times if a minifigure is old or brittle, the legs can crack in the back. And that is something I am genuinely concerned about. It was not something I was aware of when I made the wall, so yeah, I'm kind of stuck like this. I've gotten a lot of recommendations to put minifigures on with like this piece here to put a guy on, and he would just stand in there like so. If we put that down, I can show the example. If I put a minifigure on like this, and that would keep the legs from cracking in the back. And You know, that's a very fair point, but I don't think I'm going to end up doing that. So I personally have never had an issue with the minifigure's leg cracking in the back. I may very well eat those words soon, but I take the minifigures on and off the wall a lot, and I've never run into that issue. And it would also come down to cost, right? So getting a lot of those bricks, they're not cheap, and I would spend well over, you know, 100, 200 bucks just trying to revamp the wall that way. So as it stands, I'm just going to hedge my bets and keep sticking them on the wall like so. And hopefully, well, they never break. Pray for me. And that pretty much does it for the information over the wall. Before you guys go, I want to just go over some of my favorite pieces on the wall. So starting off, I have the minifigures from the Palpatine's Arrest set. This set has been my white whale for a long time, and I was finally fortunate enough to pick it up. So I got all the minifigures for that now. Except there were issues with this Anakin. His face and I believe either his legs or torso are actually wrong. So I do need to revamp that minifigure and get the correct pieces for him. But also standing right next to them is Pre Vizsla, who is also another very valuable and very cool minifigure in my collection. And then maybe my favorite personal minifigure of all time is Grand Admiral Thrawn. This is such a cool minifigure, and this guy I actually picked up as I was getting out of Lego. I kind of went through a Lego Dark Age where I wasn't collecting, but I picked up this set the guy was in because, first of all, I really like Thrawn. He's probably my favorite Star Wars villain, but I also foresee him becoming a very expensive minifigure, and I had some great hindsight because right now he is very expensive to get. But he is coming out in a new set very, very soon. So for all of you who are wanting a Grand Admiral Thrawn in your collection and don't want to pay stupid prices to get him, well, you sit tight, a new guy is coming on the way. And I hope you're excited for that as I am. Then another one of my personal favorite parts of the wall are these minifigures with the name plaques. So Lego did a little thing where they would release a minifigure in a poly bag, and they'd have a little like cardboard cutout scene, and they would come with these really cool, you know, stickered name plaques. And there are a few minifigures on the wall. So we got the Han Solo Mud Trooper, the Kessel Mine Worker, we got R3-M2 up there, and then somewhere over here is DJ. And I've got almost all of those minifigures. I'm missing a Shore Trooper from that collection. But I think it's just a really cool thing that Lego did, and something that I could actually incorporate in the wall. Another thing in a similar vein were the 20th anniversary minifigures. They came with some plaques with them. I hope to get all of those soon. I do actually have the Luke without a plaque, so hoping to pick that up sometime soon. But just another cool, you know, aesthetically pleasing thing to add to the wall. Another one of my favorites is the classic Gonk droid. This guy is just full of nostalgia for me, and you know, just from the Lego Star Wars video games, and someone I'm so glad to have in my collection. This is such a wonderful old minifigure. Then I'll do one last stop before signing off. I think an incredibly underrated minifigure was this Ned B guy that came out from the Kenobi series, I think a couple years ago now. This is such a cool minifigure. They gave him an awesome, you know, head and shoulder mold. It looks like such a cool little droid. You can put him in any sci-fi mock. It's just a super cool, underrated minifigure that they've pumped out in the past couple of years. So not a very valuable one, not yet at least, but I think is one of the coolest guys that they've released in a long while. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that I answered a lot of your questions about the wall. Stay tuned for more updates in the future. We're going to be adding a lot of guys to the wall. And here's just a quick tease for a new guy that's going to be put in the next update. I'll see you all later.